In the remote village of Blackwood, there stood an old, decrepit mansion known as Blackwood Manor. For decades, the manor had been abandoned, its windows boarded up, and its doors sealed shut. The villagers spoke in hushed tones about the house, warning travelers to steer clear of it, especially after dark. The legend of Blackwood Manor told of a wealthy family that once lived there, a husband, wife, and their young daughter. One stormy night, the husband, driven mad by greed and paranoia, murdered his wife in a fit of rage. He then turned his wrath on his daughter, but she managed to escape into the surrounding woods. She was never seen again. The husband, overcome with guilt, took his own life in the house. Since then, the manor had been cursed, and it was said that the spirits of the family still haunted the place. One fateful evening, a young man named David, new to the village and skeptical of the old legends, decided to investigate the manor. Armed with a flashlight and a curious mind, he ventured into the dark woods that led to Blackwood Manor. As he approached the house, a sense of unease washed over him, but he pushed it aside, determined to prove that the stories were nothing more than superstitions. The door creaked open with a loud groan as David stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, and the floorboards creaked under his weight. The house was eerily silent, save for the occasional sound of the wind howling through the cracks in the walls. David's flashlight flickered, casting long, ominous shadows on the peeling wallpaper. As he explored the manor, David felt an unshakable sense of being watched. He brushed it off as his imagination, but the feeling grew stronger with each passing minute. In the dining room, he noticed a large portrait hanging on the wall, a family portrait of the husband, wife, and daughter. Their eyes seemed to follow him as he moved, and the corners of their mouths appeared to curl into sinister smiles. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from upstairs. Startled, David rushed to investigate. He found himself in the master bedroom, where the air was colder than the rest of the house. The bed was neatly made, but the mirror on the dresser was shattered, the shards scattered across the floor. In the reflection of the broken glass, David saw something that made his blood run cold, a shadowy figure standing behind him. He spun around, but the room was empty. His heart pounded in his chest as he backed out of the room, but the door slammed shut behind him. Trapped, David's flashlight flickered out, plunging him into darkness. He fumbled for his phone, using its dim light to navigate. As he reached for the door, a chilling whisper filled the room. "Why did you come here?" The voice was that of a young girl, her tone filled with sorrow and anger. David's breath caught in his throat as he felt a cold hand brush against his neck. He turned around slowly, and there she was, the ghostly figure of the daughter, her pale face twisted in anguish. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, her voice echoing through the room. "Leave, before it's too late." Terrified, David tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. The girl stepped closer, her eyes filled with a deep, haunting sadness. "He won't let you leave," she said, tears streaming down her ghostly cheeks. "He never lets anyone leave." Suddenly, the temperature dropped further, and the air became thick with a malevolent presence. The shadowy figure of the father emerged from the darkness, his eyes burning with rage. He lunged at David, who screamed in terror as the ghostly hands closed around his throat. In a desperate struggle, David managed to break free and kicked open the door. He raced down the stairs, the ghostly figures closed behind him. As he reached the front door, it flew open, and David burst out into the night, gasping for breath. He didn't stop running until he reached the edge of the village. When he finally looked back, the manor was shrouded in darkness once more, as if nothing had happened. But David knew better. He had come face to face with the tormented spirits of Blackwood Manor, and he knew the horror that lurked within its walls was real. From that night on, David never spoke of what he had seen. The villagers noticed that he avoided the woods and never went near the manor again. The legend of Blackwood Manor remained, a chilling reminder of the restless spirits that haunted the place, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to venture into their cursed domain.